Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Progressive Astrology Life Lecture Channel. Begin the new season today. We'll speak, as I received, about recalibration series in the new energies of the planet we are right now. Because every ascendant, every nakshatra, every one of the 27 constellations, every one of the 12 zodiac houses of the sun must undergo a different kind of recalibration. That's the new energy that the planet sits in right now. It has to be completely different to whatever has been played out in the past. How does that happen? Well, first of all, we got to recalibrate our understanding of the self and our understanding of planets and the energies and guide ourselves into what is the higher possibility here. Because remember, we are always talking about expansion. It's the expansion of the idea into something that has a higher evolution potential for us as humanity and as individuals. So today we'll speak about something which I will call recalibration of Mars. So this is the first one. We'll go through every one of them one by one a day. This is recalibration of Mars, the first ascendant sign. So we are talking about basically about Aries, and now number one Number one, first sign of the zodiac, Aries. And number eight, Scorpio, which is Mars co-ruled by Ketu and Pluto, south node of the Pluto. So Mars, what do I mean by recalibration of Mars? Traditionally, Mars is explored and understood as the warrior in Vedic texts, even as the most violent one, or in a sense, the one who has all the drive and aggression go out there or go inwards and get something. Okay. So, what does it mean to say recalibration of Mars? Well, what happens in the new energies with this Mars? Well, in the new energies, the Mars becomes more of a drive to go and get something from a higher perspective. Now, one of the things that Mars is a karaka of, or the doership of, is a fourth house. This is crucial because it lands in the Kendra, or the foundation of the human being. One of the things that Mars wants us to, drives each one of us to get, is a territory, is a boundary, is a home, is a country. Mars is also the soldier. You defend. There is a boundary line. You defend that boundary line. You call that this is part of land, or this piece of real estate, or this piece of thing that I possess is mine, and I will do everything in my power to protect this territory, or this country, or this region, or this house, or this home and family. So, Mars is this great protector energy that we all have, which tends to defend. And it will go to all lengths of violence, all lengths of wars that we have had in all the past denser parts of humanity's existence here, tribes warring with one another. You might have heard stories about all the past times when, even when we were small tribes living in Africa, when one tribe tries to go explore another part of the land and comes across another tribe, first thing what you do, the very first reaction, you know that you've all been there, I've been there, you've been there. First thing you think is, well, why has this person come here? I have to defend my land. I have to defend this territory. Well, first of all, understand that this particular Martian energy comes to each one of us from the animal instinct. You see, animals and even birds are very, very territorial, right? It doesn't belong to the plant kingdom. Plants can grow, creep around each other. They all grow, flourish together in the same piece of real estate. They don't fight for territory. The fighting for territory comes with the animal kingdom. There is something in the DNA that will make you fight for territory. Dr. Carl Sagan published a book called The Dragons of Eden, in which he describes the reptilian brain as part of the reptilian brain which will fight for territory. If you come to a particular animal's territory, let's say most common example we all know of as dogs. Now you can see a whole pack of dogs if they are in one particular place. If another pack of dog comes, they will bark, they will shoo them off. This is my territory, don't invade it. That's the protection of territory. That's the energy of Mars. One of the main drivers of Mars, which activates Mars even in any chart, is the protection of that territory where it sits in, the house it sits in. So, in the new energies, what will happen to this Mars? In this new energy, the Mars people, the Aries and Scorpio ascendants, particularly because they are being driven in their head from Mars energy, they need to expand this sense of territory to encompass a broader perspective. Instead of thinking my house, they can think of my street or my city. That's expansion of the sense of territory. Remember, we're talking about expansion. So the Mars will tend to expand its sense of territory. This is not just my house, the ones who are thinking in terms of maybe probably the Rakshasa Ganas, they always think in very limited terms, I, me, myself. So if your ascendant is very much focused on Rakshasa Gana kind of things, you will think in very selfish terms. You cannot think beyond the boundaries of the little ego. So you will think in terms of house. You'll be the defender of your house. You'll say, this is my house. Nobody step into my house. Or I'll get violent. I'll get aggressive, physically aggressive with you. Or don't touch my people enough. My family, guardian of the family. This is all my family. This is my spouse. These are my children. This is my dog or cat. And I'll defend death. That's the territorial instinct. Understand the instinct is an animal instinct. As human, we have come to try to transcend the animal instincts. Take it to a higher level, take it to a higher meaning, make it more expansive. If you're just defending your home, your country, if you're just defending your home, expand it to the city, expand it to the street even. Think the entire street as your home and bring the same level of energy to that. If you're a soldier of a country, expand, that's already an expansion. I'm defending this entire country. Well, if you're a soldier of a country, defend the whole planet. Say, this whole earth belongs to me. What belongs to you really? The belonging sense and the territorial sense is the kshetra, or it's the part where Mars plays the maximum role. It's the guardian of the fourth house. The fourth house stands for home and family. This is why people who have good, strong Mars in their chart have lavish homes, for example. Or if they are passing a good period of Mars, they will get homes, they will buy real estate property. This is why so much of real estate or estate and buying homes is such a big part of human existence. And there are so many bankers and so many people who take advantage of this natural instinct of humans to have a home. Well, physically, a home is just a house or a villa or a ranch or whatever piece of thing you call earth that you feel that you are owning. You don't own anything here. Nobody owns anything here. We are part of a system called earth. So in the new energies, the Mars has to expand to fill the real estate to the entire planet. That's the recalibration of Mars. If the whole planet is your home, your whole approach is going to be very different, isn't it? It's the approach you take. Mars is going to provide you the energy anyway. It just remains to be seen what the individual will start considering as the territory which I'm about to defend. Remember, the instinct is there. The instinct is not going anywhere anytime soon. We are built like that. We are built from the animal instincts ground up. So we are going to take this energy and we are going to bring this or teach this even to our children, even to the young generation, My hope is the astrologers out there will take this kind of an approach and say, for Aries and Scorpio ascendants, look, you're very territorial. You've got a strong drive to achieve whatever, depending upon wherever the Mars is placed. According to, if you plot the Vedic style of charts and you see Mars placed in some house, in some constellation or nakshatra, we should guide them. This is more about guiding them. The evolutionary astrology, which I speak of in these podcasts, is more about guiding and knowing a person where they are, not roaming around like headless chickens, like we spoke of so many times before. For recalibration of Mars, you should teach the Arian and the Scorpio ascendants, expand your sense of territory. Your territory is not just your home or your piece of real estate or your piece of country or state or whatever it is. It is this entire earth. Treat the entire earth as your territory, because expansion can go more levels than that also. You can even make the whole solar system or the whole galaxy, but it's baby steps here. First, expand the sense of the territory, which the Mars is the lord of the territory, who becomes a soldier and gets all the weapons from under the bag and from their holsters and spears and whatnot to defend that territory. The aggression of Mars comes from the need to defend something. In Sanskrit, it's also called as kshetra, or the boundary. The boundary which Mars assumes is this. It may not be necessarily personal boundaries. Sometimes it can be personal boundaries as well. If somebody is being abusive to you, if somebody is being physically, mentally, emotionally abusive to you, then the Mars will kick in. They will go violent. Why? Because the sense that is being perceived is the sense of territory being invaded. You're trying to come into something which I call my private space, and you're not welcome. Is that kind of an energy, right? So this is where Mars predominantly plays a role. Think of these things need very deep reflection because they go in all possible directions. The instinct comes from the animal kingdom, not the plant and the elementals. Remember, they go everywhere in the earth. The air, wind, fire, water, they all are elementals. They just provide the foundation in which we act. The plants, and they don't have any Martian energy to them. They just exist. They're just welcoming every creeper. You can see, go to a forest and see a creeper, 101 kinds of creepers, ferns, mushrooms, all are intertwined, all are working with one another. So their territories are very open. They don't have a Martian kind of guard there. This is why everybody feels very welcome in nature, in forest, in the mountains, lakes, in the ocean, because they don't have a territorial boundary to them. But when you come across other animals, birds, or uh, human beings, you immediately pick up the sense of territory. This, don't come here, or don't come and speak to me. This is my boundary, that is your boundary. This is my piece of real estate or a village or city, that is your city. This is my state, that is your state. This is my country, this is your country. This is my flag, the loyalty to the flag that we have going around, coat of arms, or any number of these things. I'm just sharing with you the energy of Mars, where it comes from. So that when you see an Aries or a Scorpio ascendant, or you see the Mars in a person's chart, you know the right thing to do. The first step is education, folks. You've got to see it in the right perspective. If you see it in the right perspective, you can guide the person better. They have more awareness. This new energy provides all the fuel for every single soul now and who are coming in to be guided the proper way. The astrologers who are looking at this material, please take note of this and guide properly about what is Mars. Don't just say Mars is the violent one or Mars is the aggressor or you're going to get angry at something. Well, why do you get angry at anything? The territorial nature of Mars comes into pictures. It is just a guard standing at the door. He's not interested in possessing the property. He's interested in guarding the property. It's the guard at the door. It's the soldier at the gates of the city. He's just guarding the city, and that's all he does. Mars does not have a sense of possession. He's just pure fire. So Mars has the fire which needs to do something. It needs to produce work. Fire wants to produce energy. So this fiery energy of Mars shows up in Aries as individual fire, which you spoke of earlier, and in Scorpio as the still water, which goes underneath. One is a water sign, one is a fire sign. So you can take it to all levels and see how all these Mars energies will play out in these two very different phases of Mars. If you don't know what I'm talking about, phases of Mars, look up the podcast of the two phases of Mars. The two phases of every planet I've given in previous ones. This will tie very nicely into all these series. Okay. I've spoken enough, 15, 16 minutes. Okay. I'll leave you with this to reflect, ponder, and use in your chart readings as and when you see fit. Have a nice day and be safe. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Light of Energy Progressive channel. Yesterday we spoke of recalibration of Venus. We are talking about the recalibration series now, season. So, in the new energies, the basis of this evaluation or suggestions that I'm giving or intuition that I'm getting is more to do with the new energies of the planet. Now, if you're someone who understands this, has felt, sensed, or perceived, not just read in books, but if you feel it in some way, the shift of the earth, then this will be relevant to you. Otherwise, it's just hogwash for you. So move on, do something else. But for those who are sensors, perceivers, receivers of this new vibrational energy on the planet, this will make a lot of sense. And if you are one who is an astrologer, in the new energies, you have to recalibrate your understanding and your readings. You have to adopt these kinds of approaches to guiding your client. That's the basic idea of me doing this podcast. That being said, let's just dive right into Mercury. Mercury, if you remember, has two phases in the earlier podcast. One is Gemini, in the ascendant, is ruled by Mercury. We're talking about ascendants here. And Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury again. Now, if you also remember, Mercury is a Rajasic planet, just like Venus also is. Two are Rajasic, meaning they are movers of energy. They move a lot of energy in the system. The system called Earth is where all this is playing out. It's a stage where souls come in physical bodies and play out a certain set of themes. We're talking about themes here. The 12 zodiac signs are the 12 themes of the sun, the ways it plays out. The 27 constellations are the way moon plays out in the mind, the manas, as it is called in Sanskrit. So this is how we talk about things. So Mercury is the Prince Charming, the one who is passionate about going out there, exploring things. Mercury loves to explore stuff, understand different things. It's about the intellect, more like at a juvenile level, at the young prince level. You've got to get the energies of a young prince who thinks he has everything, is full of hormones, is very hormonal, so passionate and lustful in a sense about life itself. So he wants to go out there, explore things through the mind, very underdeveloped as such, wants to communicate a lot about his feelings, his thoughts, perceptions, judgments, his way of thinking, what he thinks about life. He hasn't experienced enough life to think or make any opinion about it, but that's the childishness of Mercury itself. It's childish, it's juvenile. So Mercury is basically an explorer who's a young prince, full of like a hormonal type energy, wants to go out there, explore all kinds of the world at large and what's available, what's not available for him to experience. But that experience, now experience is one thing, can be multidimensional right there, but the perception of that experience is another thing, right? What you perceived is what you received. Everybody is looking at the same object or the same experience, but people translate it in different terms. That's the perception. And finally, to embody it and physically manifest it is the third thing. It's a completely different three sets of things which everybody derives from any particular experience. This is the way souls operate in bodies. So Mercury will try to look for excitement because it's the Rajasic energy. It's always looking for excitement, passionate excitement about, oh, this is exciting. Let's go do this, or let's check this out, or let's check that out. Let's make a new fancy video, or let's do this kind of a marketing. Or I'm talking in modern terms now. Let's do this kind of a marketing. It sounds more flamboyant. It sounds more out there, in your face kind of marketing. Or let's make this new kind of product. Intelligence. Mercury is also intelligence. Communicative intelligence is one part, just raw intelligence is another part. The young prince has raw intelligence. It's a very active life force. It wants to move some things in the system. And that's the way Mercury understands things of the outside world, understands the experience. For Gemini, it becomes an air sign. It's more mental. That's why Gemini is very mental. And Gemini is a dual sign as well. So they are always faced with duality. Oh, if you suggest to a Gemini ascendant, well, such and such a thing is good, let's go with this kind of an approach. The Gemini tell, oh, but well, what about that one? There is that part also. And if you suggest that part first, he'll tell, oh, what about this one? This is being stuck in duality without taking action. So Mercury lacks, what does Mercury lack? It lacks wisdom. It has raw knowledge and communicative abilities and passions, Rajasic, but it lacks a little bit of grounding. That's where Virgo comes in. Virgo is an earth sign, the creative earth. So it wants to translate that mental thought process. Mercury wants to translate that in Virgo into something physical, into either in physical body or into physical life. It wants to talk about finance. It wants to talk about marketing. It wants to talk about money. It wants to speak about um, going with the physical body part of it, how to take care of your body, how to do this with the body, the gymming, all this stuff is Virgo. The calculative, creative earth as Mercury will shine in Virgo like that. These two ways Mercury is going on. Well, in the new energy, what happens now? This is normal. But in the new energy, this Mercury has to shoot for or go for wisdom. What is the higher form of any basic kind of education, degree, college degree, whatever you're studying and whatever you're doing? That education or that particular skill, it may be even a skill set that you possess, that skill has to be recalibrated into wisdom. The higher form of knowledge always has to move towards wisdom. That's going towards the sattvic nature of things, going from the rajas to the sattva. All the energy going towards wisdom from education. That's a transcendental form of education is the wisdom. It's the conceptual form of it. It's the sattvic form of it. This is where Mercury has to be taken. It's a journey, like life is a journey. But Mercury is best taken in the new energies in a direction of wisdom. And it will happen. All those people with strong Mercury, placements in the charts or in the signs of Gemini or Virgo or as Gemini and Virgo ascendants will undergo this higher knowledge. But well, how can I apply this in a way that will be helpful to the earth? It's not just about creating new software and algorithms here. It's like how will it be beneficial to the earth? How will it be beneficial to the plants and animals? How can we not create so much of pollution? How can we find more energy efficient ways? The intelligence that is harmonious with the earth. This is where the new human being comes into the picture very powerfully. The new human being model is about how to survive and thrive in these new shifting energies of earth. Old stuff will not work anymore. We have to reinvent ourselves. And that comes even to the astrological parts, my friends. So Mercury here will be has to think or start thinking in the new energies in terms of a closed system. We are in a closed system called the Earth, and everything has to contribute to one another. Instead of the Rajasic one just wanting his or her own experience, it is being a contribution to the rest of the system called Earth, rest of the humanity, rest of the plants and animals, and the Earth itself. That is one part. Another part is it has to graduate into the higher sattvic level for this to happen. It's not about I, me, myself. It's about being just of service to humanity. Part of me doing this podcast series and YouTube channel and the rest of it is service to humanity. It always works like that. Think of yourself beyond yourself. There is something beyond all this going on every day. And this is a daily exercise. This is not a yearly, monthly, or a long term goal or some charts that you can plot and take your scores on and, pat yourself on the back. This is not such kind of a juvenile exercise. Mercury has to graduate from the juvenile thinking and yet use those qualities and move towards Jupiterian kind of graduation. Mercury has to move towards a Jupiterian kind of wisdom, Saturnian kind of wisdom in work. Saturn is about work, Jupiter is about pure wisdom. So we need to look at charts and start seeing where Mercury is placed, what is it doing in that, what is the ascendant, how whether it's in a friend or an enemy house, and then look at the Jupiter and Saturn where they are placed and guide the child or the man or the woman into that particular aspect. Why don't you try and do this? Why don't you try and have this business? Or why don't you try and work on these kinds of talents that you have? Are your interests such and such? Why don't you go for those kind of interests that is supported, well supported in your innate abilities as well? And yet you might be doing some good in the collective. The thing that we notice most, or at least I do, notice the most in the collective is the headless chicken factor. People are running around trying to take the goodies from astrological predictions without knowing who they are. You don't know what is enjoying this whole trip. If you take the journey from birth to death as a trip, you're taking a trip down the physical dimension, right? And we are gone afterwards. And we take some other body and we come up again and do some other trips. But the essence of the trip can be maximized, the joy and the contribution at the same time. It doesn't have to be either and or, it can be both together. Can be maximized, felt, and understood, absorbed by the soul as a good experience on earth, provided it is aligned as a compass with its own self, what it's trying to drive at, and what's the purpose of this whole thing. So this is an ever evolving picture that is happening on earth. It's an ever evolving thing. Civilizations have come and gone and will keep coming and going and evolving, and things will keep happening here. It's a very dynamic place where one all souls come to play out and understand and experience more. Remember, we talked about soul is here only for expansion. Expansion in the physical realm can be derived only through experience. That's why they say experience is the best teacher in the first place. Why is it said that experience is the best teacher? It's because of this fact. Okay, so I'll leave you with this much, and do like and share everywhere, and check out my YouTube channel if that's what interests you. Okay, have a nice day and be safe wherever you are.